Welcome. I'm Robin. I'm a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, wealth manager by trade, and your rich auntie. Today I'm taking some time to answer the question about job hopping versus staying put in your career. Something that really surprised me as a financial advisor and wealth manager, I give a lot of referrals, and they're often to accountants, estate attorneys, business law specialists. Sometimes it's to other wealth managers that specialize in different areas that I don't quite specialize in. But some of the most common referrals I give, believe it or not, are to career coaches. People often come to my office in various stages of their career, everything from being, retired to just starting out their first job out of college or grad school. I also have clients who are independently wealthy, have sold businesses, some people who live on trust funds and are in a variety of situations. But I often get questions about career. And one question that is often brought to me by millennial and Gen Zers are about job hopping versus staying put. So if you look at the statistics and you look at the data, job hoppers tend to earn more money over time and get raises much quicker than people who stay put. But when people bring the question to my office, I often give them a more nuanced answer because I see a lot of incomes from a lot of different people, and I know people who move jobs versus people who have worked for the same company forever. And I think the answer is a little bit more nuanced than what you see in media. It depends on who you are, depends on where you are, depends on what stage of life you're in, and it depends on your career. First, age. You can job hop in your 20s and 30s with often little consequence because you're young, you're often at a lower or mid level, so finding jobs and job openings may be much easier. It builds out your network, it raises your income significantly. You may be able to do that throughout your 20s and 30s, and it may be the right move for you. As you get a little bit older and as you get more senior in departments and in organizations, job hopping becomes a much more difficult prospect. Once you reach the, director, senior director, VP, senior VP level or C level, it becomes really, really hard to just switch jobs every year. So typically, job hopping, from my perspective, benefits people who are younger and more mobile versus people who are more in senior levels of their career. So I definitely ask clients to consider that. The next thing is, what do you do? There are certain professions that really reward job hopping. For example, if you're a technologist and you want to change jobs, you can change jobs relatively easy. You can stay in a position for a little over a year and decide to leave, and there's no questions asked. So job hopping is rewarded in certain aspects of technology, and there are certain professions where job hopping is much more complicated. For example, as a wealth manager, I've worked in this industry for about 8 years now. I stayed with my first employer close to 7 years. You don't stay in a job for a year and move on unless something went terribly wrong. You commit to the job for a period of time because you do have client relationships, you do have relationships with other financial advisors and wealth managers. It's a bit unusual in the field of wealth management to do job hopping. It is a long-term commitment, and when I came into the profession, they told me up front, bare minimum 5-year commitment to really make this work. And they were right. They were absolutely accurate. So for a technologist, it may make sense to job hop. For someone who is a wealth manager or an accountant or something like that, the benefits may not be as tangible, and you may have to stay put for a period of time to build your network, build your reputation, and build your credibility in the profession. The next thing I would tell the person to look at, I have clients all over the country and all over the world, is where are you located, right? I live in San Francisco. There are technology jobs all over the place. You throw a stone, you hit a technology company. If you are a technologist, especially if you are a highly skilled and highly sought after technologist, you can job hop to your heart's content, and you'll likely be richly rewarded for moving from job to job. If you were in Omaha, Nebraska, where there's less technology jobs, it may be a bit more difficult to job hop. If you work in finance, for example, if you live in New York City or you live in Chicago or you live in San Francisco or some hub of finance, you may be able to relatively easy move jobs. But if you live in, I don't know, Little Rock, Arkansas, it may not be as easy to job hop. So you have to be realistic about where you are right now and where you are living and where you want to live in terms of how that pans out to career prospects. I mentioned this stage of career. Job hopping early stages of career is easy. As you get more advanced and more senior, it becomes more difficult to job hop. So you may want to reap the rewards of doing that early on in your career and plan a more stable trajectory of staying for several years when you are later career. And it also may depend on your own risk tolerance. If you do not have a good tolerance for risk and you're doing a lot of job hopping, some of those jobs are going to be good, some of them are going to be great, and some of them are going to be terrible. Um, the good thing is that when you're committed to staying at a job for several years at a time and you've got a good setup, you can actually sit back and enjoy that for a while versus looking for your next opportunity, which may not be as good as your existing opportunity. Of course, the flip side of that is with job hopping, if you're in a terrible opportunity or something that isn't a fit, and we've all had that experience at some point in our lives and career, you can move on very easily without any sort of reproach or problems like that. Um, Overall, I would say job hopping versus having a stable career and staying put, it's more nuanced than the numbers would give in the media. I would really encourage someone who is trying to make this decision. One thing I tell people to do is if you want to see the trajectory of a career that maybe would make sense for you and whether job hopping is normalized in your field, go to someone in your career, go to their LinkedIn, go to someone that you idolize, or you really think you want to have the same career trajectory as that person. Go to their LinkedIn and look at their career trajectory. Now, sometimes people don't put their full career history on LinkedIn. You may want to have a conversation with that person, but see how common job hopping was in their trajectory. If they hop jobs a lot, then maybe job hopping is the thing to do. If they didn't really hop jobs a lot, you may want to ask some questions about that, and because sometimes there is benefit for staying put in a company for a number of years, to meet goals, to grow your network, to build out skills and build out those long-term connections. So there you have it, a wealth manager's perspective on job hopping versus staying put in a career. If you found this information useful, please like, please share, and please subscribe.